Hello, I'm Reece Bramwell, nutritionist for Urest, and welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. Wellness Wednesdays is our focal point for all things health and well-being, but we also touch on sustainability too. The focus of this webinar is fibre, an area of nutrition that doesn't tend to be discussed that much, but can provide a really great range of health benefits and helps to balance the rest of our diet as well. So what is fibre? Fibre is actually a carbohydrate that is almost exclusively found in plants. It sounds a bit strange, but the benefits mainly occur because we can't actually digest it, or very little. Unlike other nutrients that get digested quite thoroughly in the small intestine. A lot of fibre comes from the part of the grain that is too often removed in the refining process. So let's have a look at our list of health benefits that we gain from fibre. So most of them relate to digestive health and heart health. So fibre is shown to reduce the risk of bowel cancer, which, considering this is the fourth most common type of cancer in the UK, is a really important reason for us to focus on it. This is because of the improvement fibre brings in terms of gut health, increasing friendly bacteria and moving food through the digestive system more quickly, meaning it comes into contact with our bowel for less time. Fibre is also really important for heart health, reducing the risk of heart disease and stroke, and it does this by helping to reduce our cholesterol and blood pressure, which we've spoken about in previous Wellness Wednesday webinars. Other benefits include reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes, but also what you will feel day to day is when you increase fibre intake, you should feel a lot fuller for longer. So it really helps to keep you full in between meals. So let's have a look at where we get fibre from in the diet. The most prominent area are whole grain carbohydrates. Fibre is one of the main reasons I wouldn't recommend people cutting out carbohydrates, like we see in some of the more extreme diets in recent years. Cutting out carbohydrates makes it very difficult to achieve a healthy level of fibre. What I would actually recommend is switching the types of carbohydrates we consume, so swapping the white refined carbs to whole grains. So the list you see here is a good one, so whole grain breakfast cereals, whole wheat pasta, brown rice, oats and wholemeal bread. Other sources you can see are fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds and beans and pulses. And as we progress through the webinar, we'll explain how each one of these helps us so much in terms of fibre consumption. So, how much should we consume? An adult's recommended intake of fibre is 30 grams per day. Unfortunately, the UK average is only around 18 grams, so we're getting about 60% of what we should be achieving. The table in the bottom left here shows a really good example of a daily diet that achieves that 30 gram target. Well, even higher in fact. You'll notice that there is a lot of variety in there as well, and that is really, really important. We get most from different carbohydrates, so like all bran, whole wheat couscous and wholemeal bread that you can see in that diet plan there. But then there is plenty of fruit and veg in each meal as well, and as well as some almonds to snack on as well in there. Approaching with this much variety provides different types of fibre, which give different health benefits, and also keeps us interested as well. After all, food is to be enjoyed. So one tip I would suggest when you aim to increase fibre is to do it quite gradually to avoid digestive discomfort, which can happen when it is a bit of a shock to the system. So gradually introducing more of these whole grains, more fruit and veg, the occasional nuts and seeds as well can really help to increase that fibre, keep you fuller for longer and reduce the risks of things like bowel cancer, heart disease, etc. So let's look at these whole grain carbohydrates. I've put together a table of some of the best carbohydrate sources of fibre. And you can keep it really simple with things like porridge for breakfast or even overnight oats if you prefer. But then you get to main meal staples like whole wheat pasta, potatoes with the skin on, and brown rice, which has 9 times more fibre than white rice. So you can really start to increase your fibre just by swapping the types that we consume. So you've got some really nice grains in there too, like quinoa and bulgur wheat. If you haven't tried these before, they're worth a go because they're pretty simple to prepare and cook, and they give a really nice texture to salad dishes or accompaniments to your main. These are a great base for the majority of our meals, so when you are thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch and dinners, try to think about this section first and how you can get the most fibre into that meal. Moving on to beans, pulses, nuts and seeds. This is a great food group to boost and top up your fibre after those whole grain carbohydrates. So they provide fibre, but they're also good sources of protein too. And the beans and pulses like lentils, chickpeas, baked beans also count as one of your 5 a day when you consume an 80-gram portion. So there's lots and lots of good benefits from these, not just the fibre, but the protein, vitamins and minerals as well. So as you can see, plenty of fibre coming from these, especially things like lentils. But also nuts and especially seeds provide a good amount of fibre in relatively small quantities. So they're a really great choice as a snack or to incorporate into your meals. And we've got some more practical tips on that a little bit later in the webinar as well. As well as the brilliant range of vitamins and minerals, fruit and veg also provide fibre. To a smaller degree than whole grain carbohydrates and plant proteins, but getting your 5 a day really does help to get closer to that 30-gram target. Something we can do to improve the fibre is to eat the skins where possible. So not peeling apples, peaches, pears, sweet potatoes and eating the skin on those is really good to help boost that fibre intake. Berries are particularly good as well because you actually eat the seeds at the same time. So that just, again, adds to that fibre. And that's what it's all about. Just keep chipping away and adding more and more fibre where we can. But as you can see, things like peas are a really great source. So let's look at some of the more practical tips that we can do day to day to increase our fibre. So it is difficult to hit that 30-gram target of fibre on a regular basis, but taking small steps like this can really help to improve your health and increase your fibre intake. So for breakfast, try mixing in a handful of dried fruit into your cereal or your muesli or granola, whatever it is that you have for breakfast, or try topping your porridge oats with pumpkin seeds or chia seeds. As well as the nutritional benefits, they also provide a really good crunch and texture. Choosing seeded whole grain bread is another good option you can do if you prefer toast for breakfast. So we can do quite a lot in our main meals to increase fibre. So firstly, thinking of the food groups that we've spoken about, your whole grain carbohydrates, beans and pulses, but then other things you can do include these little switches. So incorporating beans and pulses, you might want to swap some of your meat content for beans and pulses to provide extra fibre. They're actually lower in saturated fat and things like that as well. Increasing the portion size of vegetables that you already have. So just try increasing them by 20–30%, something like that, and that'll top up your fibre quite nicely. At lunchtime, you could try topping salads with nuts and seeds, again adding a bit more texture, or even something as simple as eating the skin on potatoes, making wedges with skin on instead of your chips. Then in between meals, using fruit, dried fruit and nut mixes or whole grain crackers is a really good little snack and will keep you fuller for longer to get you through to that next meal, when compared to something like a chocolate bar that doesn't really keep you very full at all. Generally, smoothies contain more fibre than juices, so I always try to recommend making your own smoothies where possible. They generally maintain more of the fibrous parts of the fruit, like the skins or the pulp. We tend to blend those in to smoothies, whereas juices, that part is the bit that tends to get thrown away. So finally, if you wanted to find out more information about fibre, have a look on our health and wellbeing website, Nourish Life. We have articles on fibre, but we also have articles on reducing the risk of bowel cancer as well, and the benefit of eating beans. So there's plenty of articles on this topic on that website if you want to have a look. You can also browse through the great recipes that contain whole grains. My favourite is the one I've picked out here called tabbouleh, which is a Middle Eastern salad dish with a bulgur wheat base. And it goes really well with meat or fish skewers, or even a tagine or a stew. Really good, contains some vegetables in there as well, but the bulgur wheat providing lots of fibre. And if you want more regular updates on health and well-being and sustainability, follow our social media pages and keep an eye on this YouTube channel for more Wellness Wednesday content. Thank you very much for listening.